Hello and welcome to the social trading webinar. If you're watching the recorded version of this, it was held live on Tuesday 8th of November, US election day at 7:30 in the evening. This webinar runs for about half an hour and I run it with ayondo twice a month on a Tuesday evening. Every Wednesday lunchtime, I also do the Market Outlook webinar. That's at 12:30 Wednesday lunchtime. And that's a look really what's been moving in the major markets, currencies, indices, commodities, and what to look out for, where the opportunities might be in the days ahead. So that's like the market webinar. But today we're going to talk about copy trading or social trading. I'll just put up the risk warning while I'm doing the introduction. So I've been involved in the spread betting, the trading business for the last, how many years is it now? 13 years. And I left, I used to work for a couple of the major companies in the business, and I left nearly 3 years ago now, really just to sort of do more of my own thing. And one of the things I do, I work with ayondo on their social trading products. I've never really looked much at social trading up until about a year ago because the businesses I were involved in didn't do social trading, but it's been something of an eye-opener for me. And I think for me, while it'll never replace the trading that I do for myself, I think it's quite a complementary way of getting exposure to markets and then clearly doing your own trading in addition, or just managing the traders that you're copying. So what we're going to look at this evening, it's not going to be pages and pages of PowerPoint. We're going to look at the trading platform and the traders available and how we go about hopefully finding half decent traders to follow and building up like a portfolio of traders whose trades we will mimic and hopefully have a profit. The idea behind social trading is easy enough. We all know how hard trading is in the real world. So maybe, in addition to doing your own trading, it makes perfect sense to try and build a team of people who have got profitable track records with a level of risk that you're comfortable with. Or there's someone just saying they can't hear anything. I'm assuming everyone else can hear okay. I'm just going to send this person a message saying to log out and log back in again. Let me just do that. Oh, he's working perfect. Okay. So the idea behind social trading is you find, hopefully a good bunch of traders who are profitable, not too volatile, and you mimic their trades automatically on your own account. So I've been doing it with a couple of accounts over the last, where are we now, November, so for about 7 months, and it does turn a profit. It's maybe, when I first started doing it, I did it with a demo account. And in the first month, I made 15% following people on this demonstration account, and I thought this is just the key to free money, isn't it? But clearly it wasn't, because I had massive volatility. I followed some very volatile traders, so I've tried to refine the approach since then. And my approach is very much trying to find people with these solid track records who are going to deliver hopefully profits over the medium to longer term without massive volatility. But let's have a look. So what I'm going to do, so we've had the risk warning up for a while now. Let's take a look at the platform. So I've logged in with one of the accounts. I think it's got about 450 quid in, one of the smaller accounts that I use for this demo. But so what we're looking at here, I think you can view this even if you don't have an account. But this is the rankings list. So this is like the league table of traders who trade with ayondo and have made their accounts available to be followed. So for example, if you can trade with ayondo like you would do with a normal spread betting or CFD company and choose not to make your track record available, but these are people who are trading with the company and making their track record available. So that's how we can see how well they perform. So what I've done, it's sorted by 6 months. We'll flip through a couple of different periods just to get a feel for it. Sorted over 6 months. Career level. There are various career levels that people can progress through based on their returns and their drawdown, how much money they give back, that sort of thing. So all career levels. RMT. This is always an important one for me, but this is just people who trade with real money. So there are people who trade on demo accounts who make their track records available, but I'm saying, well, look, if I'm going to follow somebody with my real money, then I want them trading with real money. If I flip that off, at the moment there's 222 traders. If I flip that off, 876. So there we go. Here we go. Look at this one here. 1,000% return, 1,200% return over the last 6 months. But along the way, giving up almost 80% of their accounts. So you do get some impressive numbers with a demo account. And maybe your approach is different. Maybe you're happier to follow somebody on a demo. But for me, one of the filters I use is for them to be a real money trader, trading with their own money. So let's just walk through what we've got here. So at the top, this chap or lady has popped up quite a few times, is having a good run over recent months. OMP trading. So over the last 6 months, OMP trading, risk score of 7. P&L, profit and loss over the last 6 months, 137%. That is a cracking rate of return by anyone's standards. But I think, again, you have to be a little bit careful about thinking, well, isn't that brilliant? That's going to be, 270% a year. You will often see people with impressive rates of return sort of move back to a more normal and modest rate of return, but you can't knock that over the last 6 months. What's equally impressive, or even more impressive actually, is the maximum drawdown. And drawdown is, we all know when we're trading, if you want to try and make more money, you have to put money at risk. And the risk is, of course, you end up giving back some of your profits, but hopefully you just give back a little of your profits and your account then moves out to fresh highs, and you give back a bit more on some losing trades and you have some winning trades, and the whole thing goes on. So in an ideal world, your account resembles an uptrend in the market. So to only give back 16% of profits is a very impressive number. If we just scroll down here, I can just see this one peeking out. Number 7, along the way, okay, has made 38% over the last 6 months, but has given back at some point 80% of profits. So that's massive volatility. You'd see your profit and loss account, if you were following someone like that, swinging around in quite a horrendous way. So for me, I want hopefully smooth and steady returns with not too much volatility along the way. So I'm quite happy to sacrifice going for massive returns if I can keep the volatility low. But let's go back to the top. Let's go back to OMP. Last trade was done 2 hours ago. Trades per month, quite an active trader, this one, 233 trades on average per month. So that's 10 trades a day, slightly more than 10 trades a day. A popular trader, not surprisingly, with these sort of returns. And like I say, OMP trading has cropped up a few times in recent months on these webinars, so it's been a solid performer, he or she. And you can see this is an important one for me, is how the profit has been achieved just by eyeballing it. You can see, so for me, that sort of P&L is a perfect one, because what I want are these steady returns with a relatively low level of volatility. If you scroll down and see some of the others, okay, let's go back to this one. Let's go and pick, unfortunately, on Scotty 77. 38% return over the last 6 months, but has had massive drawdowns along the way. And you can see just from the shape of the chart, the last 6 months have been okay, maybe, but look at the longer term track record. So for me, I do tend to shy away. There's another nice one. This one pops up quite often as well. Edel Metal. Return over the last 6 months, 33%. Drawdown of just over 20%. Again, that's a reasonably sensible number. And a nice looking P&L curve. So for me, whenever I follow trade, I think in my other account I'm following Edel and OMP anyway, but on these webinars they normally get added to follow. And you can scroll through and see other numbers, and so you go on, and you can see slightly more erratic charts along the way. RNG 2131, 21311 seems to have found their mojo again after a bit of a wobble. We can see that's quite an interesting one there. But let's go back. Let's just go back. So it's quite easy to come up with a short list of traders who you think may suit and fit your approach to the markets by looking at this league table. But you probably want to find out a bit more information about them. So let's stick with OMP trading. So if we click on that one, we can now have a look behind the numbers. So OMP, member since 19th of May 2016, so it's been trading for 6 months nearly now. And there's the P&L chart in a bit more detail. So started down here, and you can see it's a cracking uptrend. If that was a share and you were a technical analyst, you'd be thinking about being a buyer. or you'd hopefully bought already. But you can see that the trend, clearly a solid trend. The one drawback with OMP is, because this is one I'm familiar with, is if you look at the details down here, real money trader since August 2016. So even though OMP's track record has been available since May, this person only switched over to real money in August 2016. It has to be said, this was back here, that's a transition that seems to have gone well for him. I think, again, plenty of us will know if you ever start off on a demo account, if you start switching over to real money, the psychology is very different, but it seems to be a transition that OMP has managed very well. Then we have the performance stats, monthly performance, and again, you can sometimes see, or actually quite often see, if somebody's got a cracking 6-month percentage return, quite often it'll be made up from one particularly stellar month where the bulk of the return was made. But again, with this person here, with OMP, you can see solid, really solid numbers month in, month out. 23% last month, 15%, 15 and 23% in August, 1.2% so far this month. I think most fund managers, if they could make 1.2% a month every month, they'd be quite happy with that sort of return. As usual, it's a normal disclaimer, isn't it? I forgot what the normal disclaimer is. Historical performance doesn't necessarily isn't going to be replicated in the future, but it gives you a feel for how solid their trading strategy is. Then we have a breakdown of the stuff they've traded. And even though it looks like there's a little bit of everything, there actually isn't, because the bulk of it here, German 30, so the DAX, and Wall Street is another massive chunk of it. So that's so 33% Wall Street, 58%. So more than 90% of the trades have been on the US or the German index. So I think that, and a few other little ones mixed in there. And then other P&L metrics if you want to see them. Then you can scroll down and see any open positions they've got running. But for me, these are, it's filters like this. Let me just flip back to the PowerPoint. It's filters like this that the sort of things I'm looking for. So first of all, like I said, real money traders. When it comes to finding people who I want to effectively back with my money, I want them to be trading with real money. A smooth historical P&L, like we saw, some of those charts can be a bit erratic. What I'm looking for is a nice uptrending profit and loss chart. Healthy P&L to drawdown ratio. My experiences in the beginning trading with the demo version of this, I think encapsulate this perfectly, where I made 15% return, or the traders I was following made 15% for me, but the account was swinging around all over the place, so I don't want them giving back chunks of profit along the way to make the profit. Low volatility, again, I don't mind sacrificing return for not having the account swinging around month in, month out. And the detailed search lets you refine all of these things. So let's just flip back and actually start following some people. And because actually, I think a point to answer now is we think, well, what's in this for them? Well, how it works is, you can see OMP Trading has got 1,931 followers. If we choose to follow this person, the next trades they do will be mimicked on our own account. And how it works is, in effect, they get a commission. So with ayondo, you can open up 2 accounts. You can open up, which I would recommend you do if you're going to do it, open up a normal trading spread betting account where you get competitive market spreads, and then you have your social trading account where you follow other traders, and the spread on the different markets, the bid offer spread in the social trading account is a little bit wider, not ridiculous, but a bit wider than a normal market spread, because the person you're following gets paid a bit of that spread as commission, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does make sense. So that's their reward for hopefully having a good track record, making you money, is you pay a bit out of the spread. I must admit, I never really notice it. For me, it's the important thing is that it churns a profit, but that's what's in it for them. That's how they make money. So let's say, I think, well, actually, I quite like the look of OMP Trading. Solid track record, even though it's only been 3 months with real money, but some good monthly performance, lovely looking P&L chart. This is a trader that I want to follow. So I click on follow. So I've got my account set up. I'm logged in with all of my accounts. I click on follow, and there we go. So here are, in the best spirits of Blue Peter, here are 4 that I followed previously. But there's OMP trading I've added into my portfolio. So now, Edel Metal, I mentioned this person. This one's got another good track record. Hectorius, let's see. This person was doing really well in the summer. They've gone maybe a little bit off the boil. It looks like they haven't traded for a while, actually. But you can see this is someone else who started off with not real money and switched to real money in July. So made a bit more in July, but it's gone a little bit flattish since then. Doesn't look to have traded. It has traded today. Anyway, that's Hectorius, was a star performer in the summer. That's Edel Metal, who I mentioned, who again, I think maybe stuttered a little bit recently, but you can see, look at the P&L. You know, this is another great P&L, real money trader since May 2016, been trading on the platform since December 2015. And I think the other 2 are a little bit wild cards. I think let's take a look at AKEL. Let's have a look at those. Risk score 10. Oh, actually, I suppose after a bit of a stumbling start, has been a real money trader since January 2016, has still made 30% this year. And I think this one, Sergey Picagnol, has gone a bit off the boil in recent weeks. There we go. I think that must have been a real wild card from the last trading webinar that we did, social trading webinar we did. Anyway, so those are the people I'm following. So I'm choosing to follow 5. You can follow up to 5 traders, or you can just follow 1 if you want. And there's OMP, who we just put in. Now the next important bit is the risk control. You know, because I have to say, as somebody who's traded using spread betting for nearly 20 years now, it's quite odd initially to open an account, follow these traders, and then just have trades going through automatically on your account. It's a little bit unnerving, I think, in the beginning, and now I don't give it a second thought, but it's a little bit odd. But there are risk controls you can put in place. So first of all, let me just explain how this works. Let's say you're only following 1 person. So let's say we're following Hectorius. Ignore all these for now. We've got 1 person we're following. If Hectorius does a trade, let's say on the Dow, and puts the stop loss at a place that means if it got stopped out, they'd lose 2% of their account, then the same trade is done on our account. So we've got 2% of our account at risk as well. So let's say Hectorius's account, to make the numbers easy for me, is £10,000, and Hectorius risks losing 2%, £200 in trade. If my account is £1,000, the trade will be mirrored on my account, risking 2% of £1,000, so risking 20 quid. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's if you are following them sort of 1 for 1. So you can dial in the level of risk you're comfortable with, but that's how the trades work. So plenty of trades that happen on my account, on this demo account I'll show you in a minute, are very, very small because there's only 500 quid in there, and I've dialed the risk right down. But what I can do is, if you're following 5 traders, like I am now, the risk gets split by a 5th. So if Hectorius does a trade where he's risking, let me make the numbers easy, 5%, the trade will be done, if I'm following 5 people, will be done risking 1% on my account. So I already dilute the level of risk by following more traders. But what I can also do, if I click on the settings button, you can just see here. So click on settings. At the moment, the default setting is 1 time. So what that means is, if OMP does a trade where he's risking 5%, because I'm following 5 traders, it'll be done at a 5th on my account, so it'll be done at 1% on my account. But I can dial that down even further to half a size. Okay, so it explains down here the level of risk. But if I'm feeling pretty confident, I think, well, actually, out of the 5 I've got, OMP trading is my star performer, I can dial up the level of risk, so on his particular trade, so they're done bigger than they would be. I can go completely mad if I want to and have 10 times. I wouldn't recommend that, because if you're following 1 trader and you dial the risk up to 10, if they risk losing 2%, you're risking losing 20%. So I wouldn't recommend that. So for me, as a default, I tend to have it set just to 1. So there we go, confirm settings. And I think that's probably the same for all of them. So 1, that one, what's old Edel at? Oh, 1.5. Okay, fair enough. Let's leave it at that. half for that one, so I was a bit cautious about that one, and half for that one because there was a bit of a wild card. And OMP, let's make OMP 1.5. Let's live a bit dangerously. There we go. Confirm settings. So what it does now, it does this wonderful historical look back. If you had followed these people over the last year, what would your performance have been? So over the last year, if I'd have gone back in time and followed these people for the last 12 months, the blue dotted line, that's my P&L curve. Okay, so at the moment, I'd be up about 28%, 28.5% over the last year, following these people in that size over the past 12 months. Of course, we can't do that, but we have to hope that it just goes and perform. Oh, actually, no, sorry, that's completely wrong. I was looking at the wrong thing. It's. You think I would actually know what I'm doing with this thing now, after doing these things so long. 124%. I thought I was looking at the scale on the left thinking that's not right. I'd have made 124% over the last year following these traders. I'd be happy with 28%, but clearly 124% is even better. So if they did, if they performed the same way over the next 12 months, we're going to see a cracking rate of return. So that's it. So that's all set up now, and you can look at the last 3 months, how that would have done. So about 30% over the last 3 months. Over the last week, I'd have lost money over the last week. It'd be down just over 0.5%. So you can do it and sort of break the details down like that. So once you're ready to go, so nothing's happened yet. So I've got this account with this portfolio in, but it's not actually being traded on my live account because I've not clicked the button to say, okay, away you go. So if we click on execute on live account, this is what starts it all off. So there'll be a few warning screens now. So we'll click on that. So execute on live account. Now clearly, because these are active traders, they have trades that they've got already open. Edelmetall has got 180 open trades. Akel currently has 9 open trades. OMP Trading has got 5 open trades. So if we want to, we can take on those positions. So if Edelmetall's got 20 trades along the DAX, we can have 20 trades executed along the DAX. But of course, it will be at the current price of the DAX, not where this person put those trades on. Me, I've got no interest in getting involved in their historical trades. For me, and I think for most people, they want to follow trades they do in the future. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to click any of that. I don't want any of that. Just click on execute portfolio. And now, what happens now is I'm following these people. I think there's a bit of an unrealized P&L from before because I disconnected and closed all the trades before I started this webinar because I was following these people from a few weeks ago. But now, so I'm following the people. These are all the old positions I closed before I started the webinar, and you can see how tiny they are because I'm following these people with a 500 quid account and only risking a relatively small amount. The size of trades are pretty small on this account, but it does show you can dial in the level of risk that you're comfortable with. But now it's active. I'm following these 5 traders, so any trades they do in the future will be carried out on my account with those risk parameters that I've specified. The next bit of risk control, so the balance is 473 quid. The next bit of risk control, you have specified how much risk you want with each trader. The next bit of risk is here, your loss protection. So what this is, click on here. It's basically a stop loss on your trading account. So if you've got, so we've got £473 in the account, and it says, well, if the balance of my account falls to a certain level, let's say £315 to change it, close all the trades. Okay, so it's like the ultimate stop loss on following these people. So if I click on save, there we go. So now I've got my loss protection in place. So if my balance drops £160 from where it is now, any open trades will be closed. I'll stop following their live trades, and my account sits there. So you have like another level of risk control. And then finally, of course, if you log in and think, actually, I need to rethink my whole follow trader strategy, there's the big red button there, stop execution now, and it will stop all the trades and close any open positions. I think I've got an old open position in here because it's a market that was closed, and it won't be closed till tomorrow. But that's how it works. And when it comes to following it, you can just log on the web. I go to ayondo, log in, click on my account, and I only do that. And in the beginning, I would sit there with a window open all day, watching this stuff like it was an individual market. But now I'll just check it, a couple of times a week, and I review the traders every couple of months. Because if I'm taking a view on them based on a 6-month to 12-month historical performance, I don't really want to be chopping and changing them every couple of weeks. I want to give them a chance to continue with their track record. So I think for me anyway, the best way is, I've found, pick the 5 traders. Obviously spend some time doing that. We've sort of whizzed through it a little bit tonight, but you can see there are plenty of tools there to make it easy for you. Pick the 5 traders, then have something of a hands-off approach and just let them get on with it, and see how the performance is. I keep an eye on it a couple of times a week. Like I say, it doesn't swing about anywhere near as drastically as things did in the beginning, because I dialed the risk down. And it's as straightforward as that. It's very easy just to, once you're logged in, to go in and have a look at the various traders. Let's say we did this over the last month. Let's see who's been performing well over the last month. Okay, this one, Zeeg78, 57% return over a month, which is fantastic. But to achieve that, gave back 55% of profits. So if you had a taste for maybe a bit more action in your trading accounts, there are people out there with a slightly more aggressive, more volatile approach, and you can see for the shape of the chart that wouldn't be one for me just yet. I want to let's click and find out a bit more information about this one. Let's see how the profits have been achieved. There we go. So even though the last month has been good, performance in start down just under 7%. So actually since the 5th of September, the account's lost 7%, but it's bounced back by 50% over the last month. But it's still underwater. Look, this trade is up 63% for November. It's only the 8th of November. So let's see. Let's see. I mean, it's maybe one to keep an eye on in the future. It's the last few weeks certainly found his mojo, or her mojo. But let's see how that one performs. But again, you can pick traders on different time frames if you want to. But for me, there's OMP Trading again, 7th best performer over a month, making 13% over the last month. Nice, pretty chart there. And so you can filter it out for all sorts of data. If we go back to since they first started, who's the best performer in terms of track record since they first started trading? There he is, or she is. Edel Natal is up there. That's one we're following. Hectorius, there we go. There's another one. And OMP Trading, number 3. So Edel Natal, 161% since they first started trading. Mr. Dax, actually, let's have a look at Mr. Dax. I think he's gone a little bit off the boil in recent months. He was, he was a popular one. I remember sort of June, July, August was doing well, and seems to have found things. Actually, that's last year. Now, it seems to have tailed off since August, middle of August this year. Seems to have struggled with things, but it's still, over the longer term, has put in a solid performance. Someone's saying, same with Polar Bear. Yeah, I remember that one. Polar Bear, yeah. So there are all sorts of time frames. Well, I tend to look at 6 months and a year and 3 months. And what I'm looking for, this is really what catches my eye, is a nice, steady P&L chart. Real money trader, and then it's simply a matter of just clicking to follow them, put them in the portfolio, and keep an eye on the portfolio during the day, during the week, as and when you're happy to. I would say that it's not the answer to sort of free money from the markets, but for me, I think it's the reason I like the ayondo approach. I think they're a relatively small company in the UK. They started off in Germany. But I think they've got good support. They've got a simple platform. It hasn't got a million bells and whistles, but I don't really want a million bells and whistles. I just want to have a look at people's performance and make it easy to follow the people I want, and make managing the level of risk straightforward as well. And for me, it does all that. So that's why they're a company that I've been working with this year. But I'll start wrapping things up now. If you don't have an account, if you do have an account, then clearly all of this stuff is available to you anyway. If you don't have an account, I would say just give it a whirl. If you go to my website, if a client comes via me, clearly I've got a commercial relationship with ayondo. But I do do sort of separate things for some of the people who come via me who open an account. But if you go to my website, go to tradeafter.com. It's a part of my website where I've written about my experiences with social trading, how it all works. But if you have any questions, drop me an email. So my email address is david@tradeafter.com. And on Twitter, I'm at Jones the Markets. So I tweet about just market stuff, levels. You know, my background is technical analysis, so I'm a big fan of looking at charts. I think I tweeted something on the S&P about an hour ago. I did the euro a bit earlier today. You know, so I don't sort of tweet a million times a day. But if there's any interesting chart stuff, I'll try and tweet it out there. So if it has piqued your interest, you know, have a look at some of the stuff I've written. Maybe open an account. I think the minimums now have changed. I think the minimum to start following somebody is £1,000. But you can set, you know, a sensible level of risk. You can set that stop loss on your account. I think it's definitely, if you are interested in markets and maybe having a complementary approach to your own trading, I think it's definitely worthy of a bit more investigation. But I'll start wrapping things up there. So like I say, any questions, feel free to drop me an email. We can all get back to the wondrous US election now. If you're around at 12:30 tomorrow, I'm doing the Market Outlook webinar. I think hopefully things will start, you know, calming down over the next couple of days. But I think there are definitely, I think, some interesting things to look out for when this US election finishes. So we'll see. But I'll end things there. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much for coming along. And if you want to sit through this again, you can watch the recording. Otherwise, we'll be doing it live again in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll do it all then. Okay, thanks very much, and have a good evening.